What is up, everybody? We are back. I've never ever been into politics. Like, I don't care whichever, it can be US politics, UK, whatever kind of politics. It's never really been my cup of tea. And in terms of why, I can't really give an explanation. Multitude of reasons. I just find it boring. Lately, though, I've been interested in US politics, and honestly, God, the only reason why is because of Donald Trump. He's obviously a polarizing character, but I think he's absolutely hilarious. And yeah, I just think he's jokes. But yeah, again, the only reason why I'm interested in politics is because of him and how he's funny, which is actually a really stupid reason to be into politics. But anyway, moving on. So, obviously the US elections is happening at the moment, and it's just crazy seeing the divide between Republicans and Democrats. And I don't know. I mean, I've been watching this channel called Jubilee. I've known about them for quite a bit of time now, to be honest. But they've been kind of milking this whole election this year. Well, recently, and they get a bunch of people sitting in a room with debaters. So they got Ben Shapiro. They've got this other guy. I forgot his name, but his surname is Kirk. Very good people, like, in terms of debating, but very different views compared to a lot of the people around them who they're essentially debates for. And it's just really interesting listening to people's point of views. And I haven't really come up with my own conclusion of what I think about it, in all honesty. I really don't know. I do think both parties definitely speak from the heart. So I don't know. But yeah. But really what I want to talk about is how, in terms of me keeping up to date with this politics, I think for the longest time, most people have kept up with these politics by reading the news and tuning into these networks like BBC, CNN, Fox News, all these like really reputable is a bit of a weird word, but they're pretty well established, let's say that. Well established networks, and they kind of listen to them talk and how, you know, their points of view and whatever. And that's fine, but, you know, I noticed that I've been really keeping up to date with all this stuff, literally by YouTube. And you can put Spotify in there if you want as well, because, I mean, I've been listening to just YouTubers talking and giving their kind of predictions, speculations, and their kind of point of views on, you know, these interviews, but also listening to them interview. And a lot of these politicians are, I say that, it's really mainly been Trump, but he goes on, like, you know, these podcasts, right? And it's definitely becoming apparent that podcasts are reaching really high numbers of people. And I can't compare to the networks, because they've obviously got their stats on how many people they reach out to, but these podcasts are starting to rake in, you know, millions and millions of viewers. And I think politicians are starting to notice that they really need to, if they want to get their word out and, you know, really get fans, they need to do it via YouTubers and on podcasts. So obviously Joe Rogan, massive podcaster, he's had he had Trump on like this week or last week. It's got like 40 plus million views, and it was an interesting interview, but it was weird. Afterwards, Trump said how he had to, it was a 3-hour interview, and Trump had to go to a rally like after the first hour mark. And even Trump was like, nah, I mean, I'm going to stay here, because he knows that, I mean, this podcast is just going to get so many views, and in terms of exposure, it's going to be really much better than anything else, really. And it was right. I mean, he's got views. So I just thought it was really interesting how, I don't want to say the tables are turned, but it kind of has, right? Because a lot of these podcasters which might sound a bit debatable, but I don't think they really have much agenda. Like, I don't think Joe Rogan has much of an agenda either. Logan Paul, I don't know if he's got much of an agenda with this kind of stuff, whereas these news stations, I mean, they're literally like, I mean, Fox News is, I think, Republican or whatever, right wing, whereas the others are all like left leaning, and which is bad. When you think about the news, you really want to have just opinions that are just non-biased. So yeah, it's really interesting, and overall, I think it's a step in the right direction, because I am interested in developing my political thoughts, I guess, and learning about it. And I mean, I'm just not doing that by reading the news, like whether it be on my phone or whether that be watching the news. I'm just not doing that. I'm not watching debates on TV. I'll watch the highlights, on YouTube, but again, it's mainly on YouTube that I want to hear podcasts of people interviewing with no agenda, and I think it's changing, man. So it's quite interesting. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think a lot of politicians need to really realise that if they don't utilise these other social media like YouTube, I'm not sure they're going to do well. And I say this even though we don't know who's won yet of Kamala or Trump. But if Trump wins, I mean, I'm pretty sure YouTube would have a pretty important part to play, in all honesty. I'm not sure, but this is all really interesting. I am very much invested in this election, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Even Elon Musk has been on the podcast again, and apparently Joe Rogan is endorsing Trump now, which is really funny. So yeah, that's going to be in this video. I am going to bounce. So yeah, peace.